somebody listening to this who's interested in aging successfully, right? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
are the highest level? Like, if you could make 3 recommendations for somebody listening to this today that they should start doing if they're not already, what would those be?
I would say challenge yourself would be number one, if not one, two, and three. So you want to, challenge yourself physically. You want to keep on trying to do hard things physically and mentally. Two is probably prioritize sleep. And three, I think that there is a use case for nicotinamide riboside. When you talk about athletes in injury recovery and workout recovery, that's something that is very widely reported with NR.
Interesting.
And one of the things that we want to do is we want to do a placebo-controlled trial of wound repair. So whether quite a lot of people have wiped out on their bike or their skis that are taking Niagen, which is this safety tested nicotinamide riboside, and have recovered just remarkably. So that's the plural of anecdote is not data, right? But there's a lot of anecdotes like that where people recovered much more rapidly than they thought. If you go to the animal literature, you can see these mouse models where NAD is declining in the skin, and that if you boost their NAD with nicotinamide riboside, they heal faster. So we think that this would be a good clinical trial. Where, for example, everybody that's getting a shave biopsy for something that's not cancer, could be given placebo or NR, and you could test whether skin heals more rapidly, with NR. So I think that has a potential to demonstrate something. For sure, NR has demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity in 7 trials. So, and inflammation is a component of the kind of decline that occurs in aging, that in your liver and your muscle and all these other tissues, you get different kinds of immune cells that are kind of infiltrating. A healthy liver is almost all hepatocytes, and fibrotic or inflamed liver, there's a lot of immune cells. And so what the effect of NR is to kind of keep the inflammation very low, so that multiple organ systems, including skeletal muscle and liver, can do the things that they're supposed to do.
Wow. And at what dose do you think injury repair and recovery?
So the athletes in clinical trials are typically taking a gram a day. Yeah.
It's True Niagen, it's like 250 milligrams per capsule. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think the consumer dose is 300 milligrams, but there's actually a product now that's a gram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because the reason why I'm taking BPC 157 now, along with some other peptides, and I recently had a stem cell procedure, is because I have chronic, for a decade now, low back pain. And so, yeah, I've tried all the rehab and the PT and strengthening my core, all that stuff, and it's fairly persistent. So I'm just trying to throw anything I can at it. So it's good to know that this may potentially help as well. Is there any cancer risk with boosting, with taking NR, with boosting NAD?
I don't think so. I mean, this is a supplement, right? And it says on the bottle, not intended to treat diseases and conditions. Could it potentially drive cancer? I think it's unlikely. There could be some, tumor genotypes that would be driven by higher NAD. For the most part, we've seen a lot of tumors that are initiated at lower NAD, where the DNA repair is not as strong, where the responses to inflammation are not as strong. And there's animal models in which NR is strongly anti-tumor. But, this is not medical advice. So, obviously if people should ask their doctor and all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. It's big business, obviously. You know, longevity, the field of the consumer, I guess, field of longevity, and quote unquote anti-aging related products. But yeah, I love getting to pick the brain of somebody such as yourself, because I feel like there are so many misconceptions out there. You know?
Yeah, people should live their life. I mean, life is a joy and is a privilege. Try not to pathologize aging. Try to stay active, and don't be too prescriptive. Other than try to do some hard things.
Yeah, try to do some hard things. So, are you now lifting weights, or is it just
Pilates?
Yeah,
I'm gonna get back to HIIT and do some faster things and do some more weight-bearing stuff. Yeah,
because I think for a long time it was primarily like, you know, do aerobic exercise, like boost cardiovascular health by way of aerobic exercise. But this is fairly new, like this thinking around like skeletal muscle and its value.
Is it new?
I don't know. I feel like, well, my vantage point is that, you know, from a basic science standpoint, it's been known that, you know, cardiovascular exercise is beneficial to mice. It's a lot harder to get a mouse to bench press and squat and deadlift to see how that impacts their longevity.
Yeah, right.
So now I think we're having, you know, more longitudinal data, a more sort of granular look at skeletal muscle and thinking, and I guess a more broad perspective in terms of how skeletal muscle, as you mentioned, impacts glucose regulation and the like.
Yeah, I feel strongly that we want to preserve our skeletal muscle mass and function.
Is there a point of diminishing returns, or should we all be focused ultimately on getting as jacked as possible?
I don't know that you have to be as jacked as possible, but you have to live your life, right? Yeah. I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, and so
because I want to get jacked. That's my whole thing. It was like, you know, I love lifting weights, and I have this genetic ceiling that I'm trying to push up against. You know, especially at 41 now, I'm fighting against the declining levels of testosterone that I don't think I'm actually experiencing, but, you know, statistically I know past a certain age, you know, we're all fighting up against.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's my MO.
Yeah. And if fighting helps you work out harder, then fight, right? And that's part of do hard things. But I think that there's a line that you don't want to cross into being too obsessive about it. You don't want to be too obsessive about your food. If you worked out 44 minutes rather than 45, it's not going to matter, right? It's just trying to stay active and do the things.
And keep the brain engaged as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Are there any strategies for cognitive longevity that you're aware of that are worth considering?
I would say be around young people, be around people of all ages, be around smart, inquisitive people. Ask yourself questions about what is the evidence basis for what I believe, and challenge yourself.
Yeah. What about social media and mitigating stress?
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.